Every 4th of July, going back the past 46 years, runners gather together on Peachtree Road to compete in a race. These individuals are not deterred by the often sweltering summer heat. That's because on that morning, they're out for one singular mission: to finish the race. It's billed as the largest 10K race on the planet. Runners of all levels, from the casual to the ultra-competitive, stake their place within an ocean of bodies at the annual and what's become illustrious Peachtree Road Race. The competition kicks off in Buckhead and winds 6.2 miles through one of Atlanta's most popular transportation arteries. Along the way, runners must pass through scenic shopping districts, contend with the steep climb of Cardiac Hill, before finally reaching respite with the crossing of the finish line at Piedmont Park. On the day we celebrate America's independence, upwards of 60,000 men, women, and children find celebration in personal achievement. Whether it's to win, improve their time, or simply finish the race, all participants emerge victorious. The Atlanta Track Club organized the very first Peachtree Road Race in 1970 with a hearty 110 participants. Like the race, the club too has grown in size and scope, led by a man who knows the true virtue of endurance, as you'll see in today's Executive Profiles.
My first race was at the age of 6, and it was a road race. It was called the Newark Distance Classic. 4-mile race. I decided on a whim to jump in it with my cousin. 6 years old again. I finished dead last. And I was so far back that my father was driving around in a police car looking for me. But at a young age, I got that, I was bitten by that Olympic bug. And in the back of my mind, I knew it was something I always wanted to do. It took me 24 years.
What was it about running that you found interesting? Was it the Olympic movement, or was it something else? What did you find in it?
Talk about the power of the media. So 1976, Bruce Jenner, Wheaties box, impressionable kid. And I started to watch the Olympics from there. Being around running, my dad was a high school runner. He started to drive me around to these weekend road races, and it was more a participatory thing, more a thing that you would just do with your dad. It really took until I entered high school when I got serious about it, and it took me 8 years after college to finally make that Olympic team.
So your key event was the 800 meter.
And Kip Couture is tearing this track alight.
To see runners out in front of you and you staying behind close to dead last place, what kind of discipline does that take for a runner to do that?
I knew I didn't have a chance of beating Wilson Kipketer that day, but I knew that there were 2 other spots up for grabs. If you watch the video, it doesn't look like I have a chance until about 3 meters to go, and I won that bronze medal by 1/100th of a second.
Concella is in bronze medal position from Rodell, but it's Rich Kenah coming through in the end, and I think he just takes the bronze. A marvelous run from him if it is.
How do you see some of the disciplines that you used as an athlete applying to your everyday of managing one of the largest track clubs in the country?
Sure. Well, I've been at Atlanta Track Club for just over 2 years. And on my first day, with our roughly 20 employees, I used sort of a track metaphor. And I said, to be a great middle distance runner, a great distance runner, you have to learn to be mildly uncomfortable all the time. And that's what we try to do every day at Atlanta Track Club. When it comes to our mission, impacting health and wellness through running and walking, if we're not willing to be mildly uncomfortable, how can we expect people to be mildly uncomfortable as they start that journey to trying to get fitter through running and walking?
What are the things you'd like to see the track club do over the next 12 to 18 months that you'd love to see happen, maybe come to fruition?
There's no shortage of things we'd love to do. We're a member-based organization, so we have almost 26,000 members here in Atlanta. And sort of the goal really is to take those people who run the AJC Peachtree Road Race, and that's sort of their one race for the year, and to get them active throughout the year.
The other piece of a track club is also trying to attract elite talent to represent the track club on a worldwide basis. Is there a goal at all for the track club to ever get some of its members to be Olympians someday?
Last year, when we announced a new partnership that we had with Mizuno, that by 2020, we intend to develop at least one male and one female Olympic athlete. And what does that mean? That means finding homegrown talent here in the South, here in Georgia, here in Atlanta, and providing them the resources to chase their Olympic dream, much like I had the opportunity to chase my Olympic dream.
There are a ton of runners in this town. What do you think makes Atlanta such a strong running community? It's one of the and this is one of the largest track clubs in the country.
We are the beginnings of a great running town. We have the world's largest 10K. There are 26,000 members in our club, and there are dozens of other running organizations in the city, as well as some of the best high school athletes. But I believe that our stature as sort of a running destination is only going to grow, especially as the Beltline continues to be built out. And as we continue to act on our vision and mission. There's a town in Oregon, Eugene, Oregon, where the University of Oregon is. It's called Tracktown, USA. I would love for Atlanta to become known as Running Town, USA. So if you're a runner, you come to Atlanta.
Tell me a little bit about some of those notables who've come through, who've made their way to Atlanta to race.
So 2 years ago, we focused our elite race on the U.S. Championship. So we had the U.S. Championship 10K.
Right.
So we had the best male and female athletes from the United States here competing for that U.S. title, which was a lot of fun. And then last year, we had an American and a British athlete on Independence Day leaning at the line for the win of the AJC Peachtree Road Race. The gentleman from the U.S. Air Force thought he won, raised his hand as he was coming across the line, except he hadn't gotten to the line yet, and the British gentleman leaned at him.
What kind of advice do you give to a runner to how to keep improving themselves?
What we hear all the time is, hey, listen, I can't do that. I can't run for 1 minute. I can't run for 30 seconds. It hurts too much. And the reality is, whether you're an Olympic athlete or whether you're a kid or whether you're an adult who's just entering our training programs, it hurts, and you need to have some patience. But to be a great runner, you have to put in the work in the mornings, in the evenings, on the cold days, on the rainy days, on the hot summer days, and it takes time to get there. It's a great thing about being an individual athlete in an individual sport is the highs are really, really high. The flip side is the lows are very low, and you don't have anyone to really support you on those low days. We try to do that at Atlanta Track Club through our training programs, but it's to get through those low days. That's the challenge, because the highs feel so good.
Recently, the track club, I guess in the past year, took over the marathon. Is there a goal for the Atlanta Marathon to ever try to rise in stature to be at the same level of some of those global marathons?
I'm not sure we could ever create a 60,000 person or grow a 60,000 person marathon. I'm not sure I ever would want to in Atlanta. It would be a challenge. Yeah. We want to grow it into, first and foremost, the biggest and the best marathon in the Southeast. But we want to showcase Atlanta and showcase this event by making it a bucket list type event for someone who lives in New York City or California or Texas or someone in Europe. Let them come and see Atlanta and let running be the hook.
The 47th running of the Peachtree Road Race will strive to be festive and competitive, but make no mistake, in light of recent terror attacks and with the Boston Marathon bombings still resonating, security in and around the event will be tight. Officials want spectators and participants alike to have fun, but also be vigilant. Ahead, Patrick Crosby looks at the jobs where pay promises the most growth, and they're back. Workers that leave the company only to later return is a rising trend. We learn more about it when we come back.